what are some of the best practices for securing your Azure resources and data when working with M365 Power Platform?
All right. So when it comes to securing your resources, first thing that you need to keep in mind is the roles that you have got. So again, let's say for example, I just want to maybe add a user. So in that case, we can do that with multiple kind of an roles. So probably one could be just entire admin, global admin, and then that person can go ahead and add the user. But probably that is not the biggest or maybe the smallest role that is needed for that. So in that case, whenever you want to secure your environments, know your users, know the roles which are available, and then give those roles to your users. But again, only when those are needed. So for that, we do have a good concept in Azure, which is called as Privilege Identity Management. PIM, we call it as a PIM, PIM, Privilege Identity Management. So through that, what can happen is we give a certain role to a certain user for a specified amount of time. Let's say, for example, I want to be a user administrator. I will request that particular PIM role for my account. Administrator will approve it, and once I will activate that role, I will be able to do all those operations for a certain amount of time. Once that time will lapse, again I will be a normal user, and then I won't be able to perform all those admin kind of an activities. So it always starts with the least privileges that we have got. So always start with the least privileges, because I have seen most of the applications wherein unnecessary more rights are given. uh, Even though if you just want to read from any of the application or any of the system, even most of the time we just ignore and we go ahead with read write kind of and things. So it is kind of an okay when whenever you have all the authenticated or maybe authentic user, I will say, not authenticated, so that you can trust on them that they are very nice persons in the world, which are going to use your application. But whenever you're dealing with some kind of an hacking minds, definitely those things are going to hurt you. Okay, because whenever you are posting a request, along with that one thing which is technically we call it as access token that gets sent over the network. And for example, if someone has got access to that access token, they can manipulate the entire game. And with that,
Oh,
if you are giving more rights to that, probably they might post something on your behalf as well. Okay, so in that cases, this security is more important. And again, nowadays we mostly develop the applications which are kind of a multi-tenant. So let's say now that I have one application in Microsoft Azure, I want to get it integrated with Power Apps or maybe SharePoint or maybe with Microsoft Teams. So in that case, those two are two different platforms, two different applications, and over the internet they are communicating to each other. So in those cases, securing all those applications or securing your endpoints is very much essential. So that's the reason when it comes to Azure side of it, we always try to secure our resources maybe by having the Azure front end or maybe WAF, firewall kind of a thing, so that we can see like who is accessing what kind of an resources, and again where we will be able to block all those resources. Again, recently I have seen a good practice being followed by most of the organizations, that they do have some kind of an accounts which can only be used from their network. So if you try to use them outside of your network, probably that thing doesn't work, even though that user has got all the rights, all the necessary rules, but still those things doesn't work. Again, as we are talking about AI, there are again co-pilot kind of an opportunities coming for security roles as well, so that it can entirely analyze all of your systems in Azure as well as in Microsoft 365. I'm specifically talking about Microsoft related technologies here. So it can analyze all of the things or all of the settings that you have got on your tenant, and then it can suggest you few things, like for example, wherever you can go ahead and activate the or have the PIM role kind of a thing, or wherever needed you can have the less or minimum kind of an privileges. So those are the things which are very much essential, because whenever we are developing the applications, probably we are into a very much hurry to get it to the production, because we just want that this is my deliverable and I should deliver that within that timeline. But during that we sometimes compromise on the security part, which should not be done. But again, I will say, for example, if the boundary of your application is just your tenant, that is fine. I mean, I will not say it is fine, but it is still fine because it's your users only. But if you are crossing the boundaries, for example, from the Power Apps, you are going to make call to the Azure services. Definitely, when you are crossing the boundaries, you need to secure your applications. Yeah.
All right. No follow-up questions here, Nandip. I think you pretty much covered a lot of things for this question.